The Central Club.
Do you need a work uniform? Want to start a clothing brand? Or maybe you have a football kit that needs a logo printed? Well, if I was you, I'd get in touch with the Re-Inspire Printing Company down Treforest Industrial Estate for the finest printing and embroidery in Wales. I use them for my custom-made mankini, but you could use them for t-shirts, hats, hoodies, and many, many other things. Do you have an electrical problem? Need your house rewiring? Then leave it to the pros. Our sponsors here at RME Electrical Services cover complete electrical installation, testing, maintenance, and reactive services in all sectors across South Wales. Their services include commercial, industrial, domestic, and renewables. If you got a problem, get in touch now. What's going on, people? Welcome to the Central Club. This episode is brought to you by Re-Inspire Printing and RME Electricals. Today, we have a very special guest. This man don't even need an introduction in this part of the world, but I think the career he's had, I think he only deserves it. This man was one of my childhood heroes when witnessing him on them cold classic nights down Ninian Park with that iconic celebration. He still holds the record as the only man to score a hat-trick in the Premier League and every other division. He's now a sports commentator and a trained UEFA Pro licensed coach. It's none other than Robert Earnshaw.
Welcome on.
Welcome.
How are we doing?
Good,
Amazing.
Good. Thanks for coming down.
It's been a
Thank you
massive
for having
pleasure.
me. Yeah, thank you for having me. It's nice. It's different. I like doing things in person. You know, I feel the energy, feel the people.
100%.
Be this close, which
Yeah,
has been
for sure.
difficult
It's
for a
not
long
like a
time.
Zoom call.
But
I watched
it's
one of
nice.
your interviews and you were saying I think it was on the Sky Sports, and you were saying that you was even thankful for the Zoom call, just speaking to someone during COVID, how hard it's been, and how's it been for you, Rob? You know, is it affected you, this COVID lockdown?
I think it's affected everybody, in different ways. You know, for me, I can't complain. I can't complain at all. It's been nothing but positive, and I'll explain that, because for me it was about, okay, COVID happened. Everybody's been affected in different ways in work, in how they work, how they live their lives, and everything like this. But for me, it was a pause, a pause in time to reevaluate, and that's why it's been positive for me, because I think there's not a lot of time ever where the whole world just pauses for a minute and allows you to do everything else, you know? So for me, I've been going for 24 years, roughly.
Flat out.
Just going, yeah. Just going. 24 years of, since I was, 25 years almost, pretty much, since I was 16. So since I was 16, been playing football, been training, been always chasing something, always progressing to something, always working to something. So in that whole time, I've just been going. And as you go, as you play football, as you meet people, as you have loads of people come into your life and all different things, you accumulate things, and you have a build-up of so many things over a period. So imagine 25 years of just, something coming into your life, and it's more and more and more. And the hardest things as a human being is to have less.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
So
to
true.
have less.
Yeah.
It's very, very hard to have less, So one of the things during COVID was how can I be by having less, How can I live with having less? So for me, it was about taking things away and reevaluating things, having a look at what I have got, whether it's personally, whether it's family, whether it's friends, and then reevaluating all those things and saying, okay, how can I function the best going forward? And on top of that, you have time to do that. So when COVID happened, for me, it was, okay, let me take the time, and I'm going to be intentional with everything that I do. I'm going to have a look at every little thing. For 24 years, I've been going, accumulating so many things. Now I need to kind of step back, remove things if need be, and be the best version of myself. And that's why it was so positive, because it was about me trying to be the best version of myself. And that included decluttering things, taking things away. Organizing and being intentional with how I live and how I wake up every day and how I progress going forward. So that's why it's been positive for me. And I did that. I did so many areas, so many different things I looked at and had time to figure things out. And I figured so many things out.
Was there a lot of things you realized, wow, I don't need that in my life? Or, was there a lot of things you let go of which you didn't even think you had? Like, it could be people you keep in contact with, people you've met, or just a way, habits you have in life.
Yeah. People-wise, I've always been a people person. It's I speak to everybody. I connect with people. I'm interested in people. So I got so many friends from different
cities, different countries.
Yeah, I've lived in 6 different countries and a million different cities. So everywhere I've made friends. I've become friends. I've kept that network of people that whether I speak to once a year, once every few years. Those people I still know, I still got a relationship with, and I still communicate with, and whether it's every week or once every couple of years. So people-wise, still the same. There's things like maybe things I didn't realize, like I haven't had a car for 10 years.
Really? You didn't have a car for 10 years?
I didn't own. I haven't owned a car for 10 years. So what I do is I rent, I lease, I borrow, and it works for me. So that's one thing where I didn't have for a long time, where I was like, yeah, I don't really need that. Is
that because you're always somewhere else? That's why you lease the cars and stuff, and that's why it's always worked for you, because you're not just in one place.
Yeah, and it was because I'm in different cities. Pretty much, I've averaged being living in a different place every couple of years.
Wow.
For the last 18, 19 years, maybe.
Yeah, so, I'd even say before that, like, you could say that the precursor to adapting to going to all these places was how you moved from Zambia as a kid to Wales anyway.
Yeah. So I've been in different places all the time. So that, I guess, builds who I am, how I look at things, how I live, how I am as a human being. And then, I think it's something that's great, and I'm very appreciative of.
It goes back as well to you saying about you accumulated a lot of things. You met all these different people, different cities. That, as amazing as that is, that can wear you down, like you said as well. So COVID was your chance to just get rid of all these distractions, breathe, and just be more essential with the things that you're consuming, like you're saying. So just, like you said, being more intentional with what you hold and what you don't, and distractions and stuff. And do you feel like...
definitely did that. It definitely, I think you get to a point where you feel heavy. Because once you accumulate so many things, it's all in your shoulders and your mind, and it occupies space in your brain, and it's constantly 20,000 people in your phone. It's like, everybody's like, how are you today?
It's like carrying a baggage, just everyone's bag.
Yeah. And also, it's not just like people, it's things as well. It's you've got advisors, you've got agents, you've got, people that professionally that, you're working with constantly. There's always, there's questions, there's back and forth, there's There's so many things that you're then it kind of weighs you down a little bit.
Yeah.
You know,
It's like you've got your personal life, work, and then fans as well. It's like so many things that it's like just.
Yeah, and it's always you always being chased for something.
Yeah.
It's always like, oh, can I have this? Or have you got time for this? Or can you do this? Or can you do a video for so and so that you've never met?
If you get judged.
How would you deal with that?
Yeah.
Like, how, do you like systemize stuff or like what? Like,
Yeah. So that's what I've done pretty much. During COVID, it was find a way that I could be. Be the best version of myself in how I handle things and do things by finding systems, finding ways. Like I got my iPad here because I write things down. You know. I when I write things down, it goes into my mind. It stays in my mind. Anytime I think, okay, what was that? And I meant this way, or what's this thing that I've got to remember. I'll go back and say, okay, that's what it is.
Yeah, it's mad how much writing down stuff helps.
Yeah, it generates.
Yeah,
it does, because your mind, like, you forget a lot of stuff. You can't forget what's ink on paper. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
it's there.
So so I started writing a lot, which was my system, where I was like, okay, if anything that's of interest for me that I want to remember, I'll put it down. I'll write it down.
It's a good tip.
Yeah. So I write everything down, and then I put them into whether it's something to do with life, something to do with professional, something to do with football, something I've got to remember for maybe I'm working on a game for the Euros this past summer. I'll have a list of notes for each game, what I'm gonna do. The certain things that I know I'm gonna say, it's gonna come up.
Yeah.
So I'll write things down, and then I've got my notes. So when I'm working, I'm like, okay, what's the name of that player, or this. I'll be like, okay, here's all the notes. Okay, right.
Yeah.
I can discuss it. So I found systems of ways to do things more efficiently.
Yeah.
And some of that stuff was writing things down. Sometimes was spending a few times in the day where, I listen to podcasts.
Yeah.
I'll listen to audiobooks. It was a way of the best way to process things. I found a system of one of the questions that I asked myself was, how can I be the best version of myself every day? And one of the things was, okay, what do I need? And one of the things that I looked at was, okay, I need my health. I need to be healthy. Yeah, I need to be healthy because if I'm not healthy, I don't exist.
Health is wealth, as they say.
Would
you say that was mainly diet, or would you say that was
mental? Maybe as well?
Obviously, like your mental and stuff. But like, was it massively to do with your diet? Would you say and stuff, and how you exercise?
Not really, because I think through playing football, I got a way of living relatively healthy. I still spoil myself, so. But I think you accumulate knowledge from that, and how is you best function every day. But it was more of I think number one is me physically being healthy and fit and exercising. And I figured that after 20-something years of just constantly exercising, when I had to retire, I had to figure out how could I still carry on this hobby, this habit, this way of living that I've built up over time.
Yeah.
And how do I, figure out how to put that in the day? Because now it's optional. I've retired. I'm thinking, okay, every day I need to be active because my body's screaming inside. I'm screaming to be active. I need to be active.
Yeah.
And it's part of my day. And part of that is also me being physically fit. Okay, physically fit means, okay, I have to, be running, the gym, the bike, whatever it is, try and fit that in. So one of the things that is, how can I be the best version of myself? So, okay, I needed my health. So I needed to every day get up, and exercise somehow, whether it's gym, whether it's I go running, whether it's a walk. It's anything that's active, which covers my health. So I needed that every day. So every day I was, okay, I want to get up every day and do that, spend at least a couple of hours of just concentrating on my health and take care of that, because if I haven't got my health, then I'm going to struggle. I'm going to get weaker, and all of a sudden I don't exist anymore.
Of course. Yeah.
You seem very methodical. Like how you think is very methodically, writing things down. Taking it back to your career, have you always thought like this? Have you always been quite a methodical thinker? Like were you like this at 16 when you were younger? Like what were you like when you first started?
Could we take it back?
Yeah.
Could we take it back to the start of Robert?
How was your mindset? Like, do you know
Take
what I mean?
it back to the beginning.
For the people who don't know, obviously, where was you from originally? How did you get into football? And how did you break through?
Well, okay. So the beginning. I was born in Mufulira in Zambia, in Africa. From my mother was Zambian, from Zambia. Born there. My dad was actually English from Yorkshire. That's where the Earnshaw comes from. The Robert Earnshaw
Don't
comes
tell
from.
the Cardiff fans.
Yeah, so my dad was English.
It's very English in Earnshaw.
Yeah. Moved over to Zambia to work. Met my mum. Obviously, I come along. I have 3 sisters and a brother as well. And so that's where I was born. That's where I grew up until I was, I think I was about 5. I was in Zambia. After 5, I moved to Malawi because my dad got a job in Malawi.
He was a gold mine.
Coal. Coal. Sorry. Yeah. The black stuff. Not the gold stuff.
Not the gold stuff.
If it was the gold stuff, maybe I might not be sitting here. So yeah, he was a manager of a coal mine. So he was working in Zambia. Then he got a job in Malawi.
Do you have any early memories of like Zambia?
Yeah. I have so many memories.
Good memories?
Great memories.
Good.
Great memories.
Was your dad like into sports?
Not really.
No.
Yeah, not really. He was a very he was a gentleman who very much about his work. Take care of his work. He had his hobbies. Very simple stuff. Very simple guy. He liked sport, but wasn't huge into it.
Yeah. Wasn't your mother into sports?
Yeah. So sport-wise, I get it from my mum because my mum was the
crazy.
active one. She was
the footballer.
Yeah. So when we were in Zambia, she started playing football, and I come from a footballing background.
Rich background of football.
Yeah, your cousins were footballers as well. Is that right?
One of my second cousins was Kalusha Bwalia.
Yeah.
And he was African Footballer of the Year.
Yeah. Wow.
In the I think late 80s, 90s, and he created a career for himself. He played at Club Brugge in Belgium, PSV Eindhoven in Holland, Club America in Mexico, which is the biggest club in Mexico.
Yeah.
So he played and played for the national team as well, and he was good. He was excellent. Wow. African Player of the Year.
That's a big, when you look at Mo Salah and people like that now,
huge.
That's a big.
Was he African Player of the Year like before you had made your journey, or?
Yeah,
he was.
So he was all of those things before I became anything.
Yeah.
So my mum, got on very well with him, and he was always around. And so when I was a little kid, I can't remember too much, but Kalusha, and I'm a little kid. So he's, I guess he was an indirect influence on the family. My mum starts playing football. She's the footballer. My dad, working in coal mine. He's just he works and comes home, rests, takes care of the family, everything, and then so my mum was the one who was influenced because I went to watch her loads of times. She broke her leg. I remember when we were in Zambia, she broke her leg, and stopped playing, and then she came back after that. But I remember all those times, good memories. And then we moved to Malawi. She stopped playing by the time we moved to Malawi. So I lived in Zambia probably about 5 years, in Malawi for about 4 years. And then my dad passed away when I was 9 in Malawi. So that was the turning point of everything. And I remember so much of...
Fond memories of your father.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
Did it affect you a lot mentally when he passed away?
Like you
how
were quite young when you were at the time.
Yeah. I was 9. I remember the whole thing. I remember everything. He was sick for a few weeks. We went to the hospital on his last day, not knowing it was going to be his last day. I remember, him passing away. The last moments, we were young. I'm only 9. My younger sister's, I think, about 5. 4. We had a family friend take care of us and took us that night. So I remember all the memories, and even before that is the trips that we used to have.
Yeah,
the
they're
weekend
the things
trips.
you cherish.
Yeah, us being in the coal mine.
I bet it was an adventure to you guys.
Oh, it's crazy. Yeah. We lived in the middle of nowhere because that's where the coal mines were, and that's where my dad was based. The family was based. So
what would you play like football with then? Is it like goalposts? Is there anything you like? I know you said your mum was playing football. If you're living in the middle of nowhere, like, how would you play football?
We literally we were in Zambia and Malawi. We played football not just. In any way our imagination made it.
Yeah.
So for example,
Tree stumps.
It was, we see something, oh yeah, that's a one goalpost and we'll put something down for the other.
Yeah.
We were barefoot, we didn't have shoes.
Best way to learn.
Yeah. We didn't have a football. So I remember, memories of us being in Malawi especially, because we were in school, we went into school by then, and we have a lunchtime and things like this, and go outside and play, and we used to make our own footballs. So we used to get like loads of plastic bags. We found string, tie as many plastic bags together as possible.
Wow!
Tie the string all the way around, so it created almost a ball. And then we put that down. We're barefoot. The dirt is as dry as anything.
Yeah.
And we kick the ball around. We make the goals. We put whether it's a t-shirt down or something. Whether it's a tree stump and okay, there's 2 tree stumps. That's the goal right there between there and there.
Yeah. It don't matter how big.
It didn't matter. And then we'll just play. And then we put the ball down and play. And that's how
amazing.
It's mad, like when you have nothing, you get so inventive, don't you? Like you literally just.
It's like Rondine. We had this girl Rondine on. She was in prison in Kenya, weren't she? And she said the things they had to do. I think she had a soap bar.
She used to get the soap bar.
They'd make dice.
Use an afro comb. One of the ladies had an afro comb. She used to make
This is in a
dice
prison?
out of them in the prison because they had
Kenyan
nothing. So they would use that to play dice games and stuff like that.
Really?
But when you have nothing, but then. It's not about having everything. I guess it was the fun of
simplest things.
Yeah, simple and having that fun. It's like you appreciate it more when you get it. Then so
that's exactly it. And then when we are, in Malawi and Zambia, and this is how we play football. That's the first bit of football that I can ever remember playing, and it was just bit of fun. Lunchtime, finish, go home, and then it's everything else. We just play the rest of the time. I remember weekend trips. Trips to see, national reserves with my dad, my mum, the family, us going camping, seeing animals. Boarding school. I was in boarding school in Malawi for a couple of years. We had we went to boarding school, and in the middle of the boarding school, there was the thing that sticks out the most was we had a pet. In the middle of the school, in like a big giant kind of cage.
Oh, it was a big pet. Then it were no cat.
Yeah,
it was like a rhino or something.
So we used to stand all the way around and watch and everything. And the pet was a crocodile.
That's mental.
So
What a pet.
yeah, so I remember like our boarding school, our school pet was a crocodile. So
That's mental.
it's things like this these are all the memories.
Memories, yeah.
Different,
before
like,
I'm
yeah.
9. And this
Yeah.
is before I'm 9.
Wow.
And in Zambia, we spoke Bemba, different language. We moved to Malawi. They have 2 different languages there. My dad is English, so I speak English at that time. I'm going to boarding school where loads of kids. It was a mixed school.
Different
and,
tribes, is it? Or when you say mixed, like
It was an
race?
international school.
Right,
yeah,
okay.
mixed race. Yeah, mixed race. Different races: white, black,
Amazing.
Indian. Different, different cultures. Different
How it should
people.
be.
Yeah, different people. So it was an international school, and all the kids came, and based there, and we used to live there, and then go home on the weekends, which would be maybe every couple of weeks.
What was your what was your first language spoken then? Would it have been English or would it have been Zambian or Malawi?
It would have been so in Zambia it's Bemba. So
Okay.
yeah,
So Bemba was your first
Bemba
language.
was probably my first language.
Interesting.
Then English, because my dad spoke English.
Yeah.
He could speak Bemba a little bit, but spoke English.
Lazy.
So, yeah. so probably Bemba first, English, and then when we moved around and moved to Malawi, you learn the language.
Goes universally then. Oh,
yeah, and then you learn different languages when you're in those countries, and that was my kind of upbringing. So to rewind it back, so my dad passes away when I was 9, and it changes everything, because now it was okay. Where does the family go from here? And that was when my mum made the choice to move to the UK.
That's a big choice, though. Isn't it? When you think of it, like
Big move.
especially if you're
Culturally.
if your mother passed away, maybe
you have
and your
family?
dad go back to England, but for your mother to go there, I
Yeah.
think that's a big sacrifice.
Yeah.
Was there ever family over here?
Yeah, so I had an auntie who lived in Wales. So that's how the connection.
Thank God to your auntie.
No, yeah.
Yeah, we lived with her for a couple of years. So my auntie was living here. She was married to a Welsh guy.
Sorry, your father's side, that is, yeah?
No, my mum's side.
Oh, it's your mum's side.
And because my other half, my dad's side were all British. And English and living over here as well. We wanted to be obviously
It helps,
closer to
yeah.
them. But my mum wanted to be closer to her sister. That was the biggest thing, as well as obviously for the family, for the kids, education, us growing up in a country that was a better foundation for us to grow up,
Of course.
and make something of ourselves and educate ourselves.
Yeah.
And that was the move. So when we were 9, we moved over, and everything changed. Everything was completely different. We moved to Wales.
What part of Wales?
Place called Senghenith, actually.
By Caerphilly.
Yeah, near Caerphilly, yeah.
Yeah.
And my auntie was living there, so we lived with her for a little bit before we started kind of moving around and lived in different places. But
So around that time when that was happening, is this when you started to? Were you still playing football? Like, were you starting to take it serious, or were you just like, where was you at with the football?
with the football, I mean, in Zambia and Malawi, I only played it just for a little bit of fun. That's it, and then do everything else. I watched it through my mum and her playing and everything like that, and obviously Kalusha Bwalia as well. Watched it through his videos and things like this. But really, when I moved to the UK, I didn't really play much. And we move over, no friends, everything's new, and from 9 to about 12, pretty much just in the house a lot.
Yeah, how was that culture change? Like, moving to Senghenith. It's not even like it's quite a small place in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
Predominantly white. Like, how was it? Did you experience any racism or?
Yeah, and I mean, not for a while, probably till I kind of later years. But you move, everything's new, everything's brand new. We didn't have a lot of friends, so we didn't go outside much. We stayed inside. You know, there was a school across the road, and I used to watch, people play football across the street, and wanting to, to have friends, to play football, to go outside and meet and greet and be out and about and be active as a 9, 10, 11-year-old. And then really when I was 12, we moved from there, and I went to a different school. We moved to Philly, and then that's when I started, having friends.
Yeah.
And they're playing football in the street, and then I'm out in the street
Showing them how it's done.
And then that's where really I started playing. That's where the football really comes in. When I was about 12. And I started playing, and then making friends. Making friends after that is, you're out in the street every day. Then they invite you. You've got regular people you play football with in the street, and that's where really the football started to get ingrained in me, because that's where I was like, okay, this is a lot of fun. I love this. I love doing this. Love doing. You're active. You're playing football. Whether it's 5 of you, whether it's 20 of you in the street, you're just playing. And we kicking the ball against the garage door every day, making all sorts of noises. Yeah. And that's how the football came into my life, really.
Did you have the talent straight away, do you think? Like, was there people who said, okay, this guy's special?
Yeah.
Like, was that did people start to, say, okay, this guy's going to be like something? Yeah.
No, not really. And I think, especially the first few years, I was just playing, and it's just fun. And you talk in the street, you are faced with everything that life throws at you. Yeah. Whether it's it's violence, it's good kids, bad kids, it's people teaching you the right things and the wrong things, and you see everything. Because there's no rules in the street at this time.
Did you witness a lot of things in growing up in Caerphilly?
Yeah. I mean, all where I grew up, a place called Lansbury Park. Very rough estate, council estate, and you have everything there. Right, you see everything. Violence, fights, drugs. Is people just living their lives.
It's very tight packed as well, Lansbury, isn't it?
Yeah. So you're there, and we're out in the street playing football. And our thing is play football and then go
witness
home.
Things though.
But you see everything. You stop and sit down, and you see everything
watch
around
that fight,
the street.
You watch that drug deal, and
Was your mum kicking ball over here as well? Because she was obviously playing over there. When you moved here, was she playing football?
Yeah. So she used to come in the street sometimes and play a little bit. Yeah. So I'm there playing a little bit of football with my mum in the street.
She's showing you like the ropes, yeah.
Yeah. So she's doing step overs in the street,
nutmegging the kids.
This is how
showing
it's
everyone
done.
up. Yeah.
So we used to play in the street, and you talk about like racism and things like this. When I'm in the street and I'm the only black kid in the street in the whole estate, you're getting called all sorts of names and things like this. And a part of it was you ignore it. Part of it you think, what does that mean? And that's when I'm kind of exposed to racism, because before that, I'm in a different country, and there's not so much racism. But in the UK, it was right there. It was right in front of me.
Yeah.
The kids I was playing football with were calling me names.
Yeah.
The new kids that came and joined the game.
Who's he?
Yeah. What's he doing? And they'll call you, because of your color of your skin, and they don't know your name. You're faced with all of these in the street. And, but I think the biggest thing for me was, it was a moment where you hear it, figure out what they're saying, and you then, almost you're trying to then prove them wrong, you are there to then better yourself in your situation, and my interest was football, so it was, let me try and make something of myself through this game that I love, and I'm out there, and I'm going to come out every single day and play, and try be the best one here. So then they're thinking of, oh, he's good.
Yeah, I want him on my team. And
rather than, okay, what color is this skin? You know?
It transcends it.
That's amazing.
Yeah, and that's where, you know, you're in the street and you're thinking, okay, I'm improving, but I'm improving because of, you know,
they're motivating me to do better.
Yeah,
Exactly.
but it's very sad that your ability is like, for being better is what made them forget about it, kind of thing. Really,
it shouldn't have even been a thing, anyways. But you know, you prove them wrong. So
and that's you know, when we're playing football every day, and they start to, you know, get to know who you are, get to know who, you know, what your personality is, and that kind of starts to take over. And that's where it was the racism was slowly. You know, I guess going away, and everybody was like, okay, you know, how good's he at football, you know, and you know, he's the best player in the street, you know, and then
best player in Lansbury,
and you know, we'll bring in the next best player, and we'll play each other every day. Cool. So that was the thing, and then I think slowly, you know, I think it was less racism. The one where a friend of mine saw me playing in the street. He invites me to go play football. I'm 12 years old, and he says, I play for Llanbradach Football Club. You should come. You're good. You know, I think you'll get in. I didn't get in.
Really?
So
I'm wrong again.
He invites me.
I mean, they were gutted after.
So he invites me. We go, and we used to travel on the bus. We train one day a week. In the evening, we jump on the bus, and he invited a couple of others. One of the others was, you know, calling me names all the way on the bus from when we got on the bus all the way to training and back. Racist names. Yeah. So I just ignore it. You know, I'm thinking, okay, you know, the reason I'm going here to play football, to join this football club, is for something bigger than, you know, what he's saying over here. So it was, you know, when you go and start thinking, okay, you know, methodical and strategy and everything like that, I was thinking...
You was playing the long game.
Exactly, yeah. I was thinking, I'm going to go join this football team, and you know, I'm 12 years old, and go score loads of goals, and everybody's hyped up about how good I am, and don't think of anything else. He's calling me names on the bus, but... the picture's bigger than that.
Were you looking up to...
The picture's bigger than that.
Who were you looking up to? Like, who was your idols, football-wise?
At that time, I'm probably watching, you know, Man United win the league. Yeah. And,
so you were a Man U fan then?
Yeah, he's a massive Man U fan.
Around that time I was,
What about now, still?
No. But I think the difference is this. You know, I'm watching Man U win the league, and, you know, people like Cantona is playing, Ryan Giggs, and Paul Ince. And, you know, all of these, it was 90...
Mark Hughes.
Mark Hughes. So all of these were my favorite players. But I think the difference with me was I used to watch that, but then on a Sunday afternoon, I'll watch the Italian football. On a Monday, I'll watch the Spanish football. I'll watch the Bundesliga. So it's hard for me to pick and say, okay, these were my heroes or influences, because I've got so many. Because every day I was watching different styles of football, different country. You know, on a Sunday afternoon, I'm watching, you know, Batistuta score for Fiorentina. On a Monday night, I'm watching Romario for Barcelona. You know, so these
You're
were
picking little bits off each person you like,
and
just making yourself
and it was about accumulating all of that knowledge, accumulating all of those details. And I used to watch it over and over again. And program it in my mind almost to be to replay it, you know, replay those moments, those goals, and those are the people that I kind of looked at. You know, I remember, you know, Cantona was a big favorite of mine. Romario for Barcelona at that time, or, you know, he was at PSV and he's playing for Brazil. And I watched him play in the '94 World Cup for Brazil, and I'm thinking, this Brazilian, he's so good. He's so good.
Yeah, so I'm watching Milan days as well. Then he went to Milan then, didn't he? After that, I'm sure.
Romario.
Oh, Romario, sorry.
Romario, yeah, no.
It's not about Ronaldo.
Oh, that was later on.
Fat Ronaldo.
Yeah. So I was watching all of these players,
sorry.
and then Ronaldo was coming through as well.
Yeah.
I watched him at Barcelona, go to Inter Milan.
Yeah.
So these are the influences that I had, and then obviously, after that, it was just about. I had so many. I didn't care about a position. I wanted to play a striker, but when I watched players that were good, that were entertaining, that had personality, that had. They jumped off the page when they played football.
Yeah,
They played football, but they were more than that.
Yeah, more than football.
That finesse.
It was the extra. It was
personality.
It was the entertainment. They added something. They played football, but always added something to the football. So it was always something to do with that. And I love these types of players. And those are the influences. And so when I'm 12, those are the people that I'm watching. Yeah, and then. Obviously, once I go to Lambraddock, like we said, once I go there, and is a choice between the A team and the B team. So I trial for the A team, don't get in. I'm thinking, okay.
It's a bit of a shock.
Can I play for the B team? Okay, you're playing for the B team.
Let you in.
So I got into the B team, not the A team, and then. And those were the moments where it starts to take off, where, I'm playing for the B team every week, and, I get into the A team, for a few games later on. And then I moved teams again and played for somebody else. And then it wasn't until a couple of years later, it was a team called, it was the old, in Caerphilly, it was called GE Wales. Sponsored by
the
General Electric. So that was the sponsor, and that was the name of the team. So I started playing for them, and then once I started playing for them is then when I got spotted. I played for a couple of years with those. We had good guys involved, a very professional guy. We had a guy called Phil Williams, who's a policeman at the time. So he stuck to the rules. So he was a really good guy. Their whole family helped me, especially with things like
really
picking me up, taking me to training, back, taking me to games, back. A guy, Di Thomas, as well.
Shout out Di Thomas.
Yeah, his son played with me later on at Cardiff City.
Who's his boy?
What's that?
Who's his boy?
His boy is actually called Di Thomas too.
Oh, Di Thomas, yeah.
So his older son, Di Thomas, he played professional. He played with me at Cardiff years later.
Yeah.
And the best brother was a boy called Paul Thomas, who played in the team with me. So he played striker with me at that time, and I learned so much from him playing at GE Wales. He was at the time much better than me. Great left foot, and every training session, every game was a learning moment for me. I used to take in so many. He's just so smooth in how he played football. He should have been professional with that. He was that good.
There's so many like that, isn't there?
Yeah, and so at that time, playing for them was loads of learning happening for me. I got better. I improved. A couple of years later, we started playing in Treforest. And in Treforest, I think the whole academy is based there now, actually. But at the time, they weren't. They just played on a Saturday under a guy called Gavin Tate. You
was getting closer to Cardiff every time, weren't you? From
Yeah,
Lambraddock, GE, Treforest. You sure you didn't go Tapswell before?
we played in the Cardiff leagues, for a little bit. We had one season in the Cardiff leagues. We played in the Pontypridd leagues as well. I went to school in Pontypridd, so we played all around. But we were playing in the Pontypridd league, I think, at the time, and we playing down in Treforest. And Cardiff City play their football, their youth team. They had one youth team. They played on a Saturday. They were playing on the next pitch to us. So we just happened to be playing down there and playing before them. So we playing down there and didn't think anything of it. Somebody says, "Oh, Cardiff City are playing after us on the next pitch." Okay. cool, that's great. So we play the game. I score a hat trick in the first half.
We call him the hat trick.
The hat trick man.
It was every game.
Is that because you heard Cardiff were coming?
No,
It's just like, yeah.
it's just the way I played football.
Okay.
It was just the way I played football. Number one is score as many goals as
Score
possible.
goals, yeah.
Number two is enjoy, have fun, and somersault as much as possible.
Were you somersaulting back then as
I
well?
was, yeah. I just started it as well.
Every single,
Yeah.
if you scored, would you just somersault?
Yeah. All the time. Yeah, all the time.
How
So
did you learn it? Like, how did you, like, was it just something you just practiced or?
it was. So I used to do a little bit of gymnastics in school.
Okay. Yeah.
And I guess that's where my, gymnastics ability.
Front flips,
Yeah. But one thing that stood out when I was watching football, it was I was watching football and thinking, okay, I want to become a footballer. That's what I want to do. So from 12 is when I was like, I want to do that. I want to play football. And because I'm watching these influences all the time on TV, I'm thinking, okay, that's what I want to be. That's where I want to go. So when I decided this, I was like, okay, what type of footballer do I want to be? I want to be the one who scores the goals, enjoys himself, and also making sure that the crowd go home and they've witnessed something.
A front flip.
They've witnessed something, and they've also had a great time. And that was how strategic I was. That was my aim in the game. Yeah.
Oh, from 12.
Yeah. And I'm thinking, okay, I want a celebration. At the time, there was I think there was a few people doing it backwards, doing backflips.
You put it off back.
Like
front,
who?
though,
Who was
wasn't
doing
it?
Yeah, the
backflip?
front's different, man.
Do you remember
Yeah.
I
who?
remember watching it on the telly, the front flip. I was like,
Yeah.
it was like, it's just signature.
I watched everybody do, kind of like a cartwheel, go into a backflip, and they do it backwards and land and celebrate.
Yeah.
And I was thinking, it has to be something different. It has to be something that, people, it's reversed. It's the opposite. And I was thinking, okay, I'm going to do a somersault. When I do a somersault, it's going to be forwards, and it's going to be different from everything
It
else
is.
that
It's
everybody
it's
sees.
the flat feet, innit?
Yeah.
Boom.
And I remember seeing, because I was watching the different styles of football, different countries. I remember watching, there was a guy who used to do it frontwards in, I think he was Norwegian, I believe. A long time ago. I don't even know his name, but I remember watching something and he did it frontwards. And I was like, that's interesting.
I'm going to nick that.
And then I saw, there was a guy called Fernando Couto, played for Portugal, centre-back. And he did it forwards. And I was watching him and I was thinking, that's different. And then that's where I was like, okay, that's it. Maybe I'll try it frontwards and I'll do the somersault frontways.
You even adapted that over the years. So there was some other celebrations. There was the microphone.
Yeah, so that's what it was about. It was
the
about
samba dance.
Yeah, it was about,
yeah.
that was my celebration then. From 12, that was, okay, the somersault, that's how it began. I literally said, okay, we play this team. I'm probably going to score because I score every game.
I best get my front flip shoes on.
You're planning.
So I knew I was
your
gonna-
goal. You're planning your celebration. Like.
Yeah. So I knew I was gonna score. So I did score, and then I was like, okay, I'm gonna need a celebration because I'm probably gonna score. So when I did score, I did I decided I was gonna do the front one. So I did the front one, and then this was 12 years old, and then from there it stuck.
Can you still do it now? Are you able to still do it? Or
Go on, give us one.
In my
You'll have
mind,
to show
yes.
us after, yeah.
In my mind, I can still do it.
Oh, okay, yeah.
It's been a few years. It's been a few
really?
years. but,
Okay, yeah.
like, talking about health, I'm healthy enough
Yeah,
that I'm
You look
still
really
active.
young though, man. You look
Yeah.
really, yeah.
Thank you.
Sure.
Thank
So,
you.
so going back to obviously you was down Treforest then, so how Cardiff City were playing before. So how going back to that, what happened? How did you get spotted?
Yeah, so Gavin Tate is the youth team coach at that time. He is watching and he sees me score a hat trick in the first half, and he's impressed. And I'm thinking, great, I scored a hat trick. Half time comes along
Number
and
three.
he's on the side, and I'm like, who's that? And somebody says, oh, that's the Cardiff City youth team coach. He's been watching. And I was like, yes, I just scored a hat-trick. You must have saw that. So I didn't think anything of it. I think I scored maybe another one in the second half or something. And afterwards, he speaks to my coach. He asked me to come training. Said there's going to be a couple of training sessions before they pick the final one or two spots for the youth team for next year.
Wow.
This is around probably
96.
Yeah, around 96, 90, beginning of 97, actually.
97.
And I'm 16 by this time. No team. You fill in the things in school saying, okay, what are you going to do next year? I filled it in and said, okay, I'm probably going to stay in sixth form or go to college or, do something to do with sport. Filled all that in, didn't have a team. The Cardiff City manager asked me to come training. He takes me training. A few weeks later, we're training at Ninian Park for the youth team. Whoa. There's 2 spots left. I think he picks one after the first 2 training sessions. And then by probably the 3rd or 4th training session, I come along. There's 1 spot left. And it's the final one. And this is around April time, I believe. And youth team starts in June. And so this is it.
So they picked you on your birthday month.
Great training session. Turned up, had fun, scored loads of goals in training. He calls me into his office afterwards. He says, I've got 1 spot left.
Did you know it was for you when he called you in?
No, because at this time, you're not thinking, somebody's going to spot me and give me the chance, give me the spot. I didn't know what was going on. It was literally, is this to, have another training session or not have another training session? So he calls me in. We sit down kind of like this. He goes, I've got 1 spot left. We want you to come in and play for the youth team next year.
What?
And I just went...
All that work paid off.
Amazing.
Yeah. And that was the beginning. It wasn't the end, it was the beginning. Because you get into the youth team and he's explaining to me, okay, you're going to come in and you're going to train every day. Wow. And then you're going to have certain responsibilities that you have to do. The first team will be training as well. You've got responsibilities to take care of them and their, boots, things like this. You have to clean their boots. You have to pump the balls up. You have to, get all the equipment ready. These are the things that you have to do.
It's not just playing football now.
Yeah,
no. You've got to show your commitment
as well.
Yeah.
It's the discipline of...
Exactly, yeah. So all of that builds your discipline, builds your character, and that's what he's kind of explaining to me. So he explains that to me, and the crazy thing was I almost missed it. I almost missed that last training session because it was the same night as my record of achievement night in school. It was the same evening, same time of training, and I think it was something along the lines where Pontypridd was probably 15 minutes this way, Cardiff was half an hour this way. The training session was around probably 6 o'clock, and the record of achievement night probably started around 7:15. So I decided to go and train.
Yeah.
I was like, we can do both.
Yeah.
Surely we can do both.
Yeah.
I might miss part of this because by the time I go from here to here, I'm going to miss part of it. So I go to training thinking, let's do both. So I go to training. I get the last spot on the youth team for Cardiff City, and I'm thinking, amazing. I go from there. I drive. Well, not me drive. My mum's boyfriend at the time drives me across to the record of achievement night in school. We flew there. I go up to the school, sprinting up. I went to Cardinal Newman School in Pontypridd, and there was a big hill. So I'm running up the hill, and to the right-hand side is the assembly hall. I literally walked into the assembly hall, and it was like this. I walked in, and my school, line was walking past me. I got into the line. I went, picked up my shoe. I walked all the way around, took a picture like this, sat down.
Class. Just in time.
Sat down, and I'm thinking,
Mr. Earnshaw, you okay? Yeah, fine.
unbelievable.
Cool.
I literally
Like a movie.
walked in and I was like this, and then I sat down and I was like,
I bet you had just
Wow.
time to like think about. Oh
yeah.
my god.
And then somebody next to me is sat there. And he's, where have you been?
Yeah, fucking hell.
Where have you been? I was like,
You don't even
Wow.
know.
yeah, you have no idea what just happened. So I literally, that's exactly what happened. I
Riding the
sat down,
bus.
I was resting, I was sweating because I just arrived. And then later on, I was just so happy.
Yeah, man.
So I get into Cardiff. June, July, I start playing for the youth team. I'm 16, and very, very quickly, everything that you build up before that starts to turn into reality. So I'm 16, just left school, didn't have a clue what I was going to be doing in 2 months, never mind, in 6 months. And so I get into the youth team, start playing for the youth team. Somebody gets injured. I start playing. I start scoring loads of goals. I'm scoring loads of goals for the youth team. There's a reserve team. Every Tuesday we'll have a game. The first team manager says, okay, we need 5 youth team players to come and fill the reserve team. I'm one of those. I start scoring goals there as well.
Wow.
From there, I think I scored 14 goals in the first maybe 2 months or something like this. The first team manager says, okay, we should have him involved.
Who was
with the
first team manager at the time? When Lenny was there?
No. At the time, it was a guy called Russell Osman.
Right, okay.
And Kenny Hibbett.
Okay.
Those were the guys in charge at that time. So they see me playing for the youth team. They see me scoring goals for the reserve team, and they're like, okay, we have to have him involved. At the same time, I'm taking care of all the equipment for the first team.
Wow.
I'm cleaning boots in the morning. I'm pumping balls after that. You had 3 players that in the first team that you clean boots for. I'm cleaning boots for them, and then I'm involved in the first team with them. So I'm cleaning their boots before they play, and then I'm sitting next to them in the dressing room. So this is the first kind of couple of months. After that, I'm called up to the first team. I'm 16, and I'm thinking, this is unbelievable. I'm 16 years old. I'm on the bench for the first team. And the crazy thing was, we trained in the morning, and after training, Gavin Tate, the youth team coach, goes, hey, the first team, they want you involved tonight's game.
Was it a weeknight? Was it?
Yeah, I think it was on a Tuesday night. We trained in the morning, and it was a hard session. Tuesdays was a hard session. It was cardio, loads of running, and sometimes it would be a double session. But after the first session, he goes, "They want you involved with the first team tonight, whether you go home and come back or just stay here." I literally went upstairs in the boardroom. I slept on the sofa in the boardroom at Ninian Park, waited 4 or 5 hours until the night game, went downstairs, cleaned all the boots, pumped all the balls up, and went and sat in the dressing room. The rest of the players come in the dressing room. They sat next to me. I'm thinking, I clean your boots, I clean your boots, I clean your boots.
When's somebody going to clean mine?
Them up.
Wow.
So I'm sat there, and he names the squad, and he names the first 11, and there's only 3 subs at this time. All right? So there's only 3 subs. There's a squad of 22 players, 23 players.
14 make it.
Yeah. And there's 3 subs. I'm one of the subs.
That's mad.
So
You're polishing boots for summer. We weren't even on the bench.
It's true, exactly. You had 35-year-olds that didn't even make the bench that night. And I'm sat there thinking, wow, this is unbelievable. I'm 16.
It's your time, kid.
Yeah, this is it. This is what you're built for. This is all the times you spent on the yard, in school. This is all the times that you're playing football in the street, kicking the ball. The neighbors complaining about how many times the garage door noise is going off. This is for this moment right now. So I'm there, sat in the dressing room. I look behind me, and it's the shirt, the Cardiff City shirt behind me.
Wow.
I put my boots down. We put everything on, all the equipment on.
The kit was baggy on you, I bet.
Oh, it was huge. Everybody wore an extra
Everything was
large.
baggy then, wasn't it?
That's amazing.
Everybody wore an extra large. Like, listen, there's only 3 subs, so I'm one of those. And then, in the second half, I'm told to go warm up. You're coming on. I come on in the second half, make my debut, and I'm 16 years old. Within, I think, 6 months earlier, I think I had that record of achievement night and the training session with Cardiff, not knowing what I was going to do that next year. And
That's
then 6
insane.
months later, I'm obviously still 16, just turned 16, and I'm playing for the first team.
Wow.
And
That's
I'm coming on, and the crowd is going wild, and I'm thinking, 4 days ago, on Saturday, we played, I can't remember who we played, but I was sat right there in the top corner,
Watching.
and now I'm right here, looking at my other youth teammates, and I'm playing on this pitch right now. Crowd's going wild, and I'm thinking, this is the best feeling. This is the
my
best
God.
feeling.
And the rest was
Everything.
history.
Yeah. And you go back to, was I thinking, methodical and strategic? That's what I was thinking of when somebody's calling me names on the bus and we're on the way to the training session. And I'm thinking, it's the bigger picture's coming. The bigger
100%.
picture coming. So I'm there. I made my debut at 16, and I'm a Cardiff City player. First team player, the crowd's going wild, and I'm thinking, this is I was made for this.
Yeah.
This is what I'm supposed to be doing. This is exactly, and we talk about like flow state. It was that moment where it was just this was how I'm supposed to live. This is how I'm supposed to be. And you say about the flow state. I call it the Neo effect.
Matrix.
In the Matrix when Morpheus is telling him he's the one. He goes to the Oracle. The Oracle's, I'm sorry, kid, I don't think you're the one. And the film goes on, and he's on the roof, and the agents are shooting at Neo,
jumps.
and he dodges them, and he goes like this. And he stops all the bullets. And I think somebody says, "What's he doing?" It's like he's realizing he's the one.
That was the moment you
He's
had.
realizing he's the one.
That's amazing.
At that moment, he knew.
That moment, I call it the Neo moment, the Neo effect, because I was realizing I was the one. In that moment, I'm thinking, this is it. And the flow state, when everything slows down, the whole game slows down. How defenders move, how I move. I'm playing on the pitch, and it's kind of like the Matrix, where everything just slows down, and I'm moving, and it was exactly, and that's why I call it the Neo effect, because everything just slowed down.
Wow.
And the game is moving, and it's fast. Everybody's watching, but it's fast. But when I'm playing, I'm thinking, okay, defender's moving here. Just allow him to move into there. Then I'm going to move into this space. When I move into this space, space in here, he's going to move further. Then I make a little dart like this, come this way, and I'm going to receive the ball here. And that's how the game was moving. And
You just, your mind was on a different way of thinking.
The game with your head.
Different way of thinking.
Yeah, because the whole time I was thinking, what I want to do is I want to score goals. So I have to study scoring goals. How do I study scoring goals? I'm gonna watch every player, every goal. I'm gonna replay it. I'm gonna program it, because visually, and when I watch something a certain amount of time, I can then close my eyes and almost replay it back. You know?
Yeah.
Like a photographic memory.
Yeah, it's kind of like that. Yeah. So when I watched the goals and the players so many times, and you know they score goals and different types of goals, I used to watch it and watch it and watch it, and then when I was on the pitch, it was almost like that I'm then doing the action.
What they were doing.
Yeah,
that's incredible.
You know, so when I move left, and all because I want to end up on the right hand side in the right space at the right time. It was all because when I do that, defender does this. When he does this, then I do this, and then I end up in the right space. Now, my teammate has to see me. I got to make sure that I've seen him to say, put the ball here. When I arrive here, the ball has to arrive. That's when I'm in the action, and that's when I score.
It's like a big game of chess.
Exactly. Exactly.
Don't start him off on the
It's the closest. Chess is the closest thing to football, and that's what it is. So
that's why you love chess so much.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. So that's how I'm thinking on the pitch at this time, and I'm playing for Cardiff City and making my debut, and so I play a few games, come on a sub a few times, and great experiences, great learning, great moments of just education for me as a football player, as to be, to grow into a young man on the pitch playing with 20-year-olds and 36-year-olds, and so that's the time where I was learning every minute, everything. I was watching, I'm watching defenders, I'm watching the opponent, I'm watching our players, I'm watching everything to see what is happening around, so I could program it in my mind and think, okay, this is what happens here. When we get in the box, when the ball goes out wide, this is what happens. This is what defenders do. This is where the ball is likely going to drop. This is where I need to make my run. This is the timing I need to arrive. And sometimes I need to go slower to arrive at the right time. I can't go too fast. And I can't go too slow. I have to arrive a little bit later, because by the time it's 25 yards away, the ball is going to take 25. The ball's going to take 25 yards to arrive in this space. So I have to go at the right time, not too quick, just the right time. And that's how methodical I was in everything that I was doing. So when I play, everything is almost pre-calculated in understanding other human beings around.
It's like Sherlock Holmes.
Yes.
You ever seen that, like, when he just calculates everything?
Mm-hmm. That's exactly it.
I'm exactly 2 yards away from the door.
It's amazing how you're just developing your football brain. You're just developing that, and not just football. You were keeping that sort of throughout your life as well, and throughout the clubs that you then went on to play for.
Do you know what? You've gone through so many clubs, and your career is amazing. We haven't even got into
in
Cardiff City, and to the people out there.
I'm still at 98 when you were signing.
We need to tell him this.
I got to tell to the people, we planned an hour and 20 minutes or an hour and 10, right? We haven't even got it started. So, Robert, I would like to ask you on the camera if you'd like to come back and do a part 2.
And just do this final thing, because it needs to happen, because the people out here are going to love this interview. So this has to happen, man.
And we're going to do a part 2. We're going to do a part 2.
We'll eventually talk about what
we've only just started.
We haven't even started. This has to...
I think everyone will be on the edge of their seats when they see part 1. And they're just like, but I really would like to get part 1 done and part 2 straight away. People are just going to be fuming, know. But
well, I mean, that's part 1. It's part 2 then goes into, listen, I go and play for different clubs, start moving around. I go to, some of the biggest clubs in the country. I start my journey in other countries.
Yeah.
It's even different leagues, international.
I end up, playing for the national team, and I go I end up in a war in Israel.
There's another podcast
It's like,
in
yeah,
itself.
it's you know, what you've done in them, each club, it deserves recognition.
Yeah.
Some of the things you've done, you know, the hat-tricks you've achieved in every league, you know. Do you think we should do some of these questions now, or do you think we should
I
just
think we
leave
just
them?
wait for the next one.
Yeah,
Like, I think
we've got so many little questions we got here for you. I think we should keep them for the next episode, if that's okay.
I think it's
only right,
It'll
yeah.
take one more episode, but it'll just those two together will just be the icing on the cake.
You set a precedent.
That'll be Earnshaw's story, like the lead, like this will be.
Yeah,
this is a
if you're
two-part
okay with
thing,
that, we really appreciate that.
This is
Yeah.
the first ever 2-part thing that the Central Club.
Never ever thought this would happen. So
Too bad.
you know, it couldn't have happened to a better person, a bigger legend,
Cardiff.
in
Legend.
Wales. Robert, honestly, it's been a pleasure, and just sitting in your presence, listening to your journey.
So far.
I've always wanted to know how you got to where you was, and you've painted a picture amazingly, mate, and I really
so.
appreciate it. And
Thank you.
I hope the people appreciate her as well. Yeah, guys, if you want to hear the rest of Robert's story, make sure you tune in for part 2. Yeah, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Robert, I want to shake your hand. Until
See you
next
very
time.
soon.
Thank you very much.
Until next time.
What a pleasure.
Yeah.
We'll talk about everything else.
Whoa.
Yeah.
We didn't get into the
got
interest.
some- yeah,
I don't know what to say, guys.
The first stage,
Yeah.
the questions, the chess.
We've got so much.
Until next
tune
time.
in.
Stay central.
Stay central.
Stay safe.
Stay central.
The Central Club.